Welcome to week 6 of the F.I.R.E travel series. I created this series prior to us traveling to Europe for 3 months. If you're new to my channel, my name is Jake. My wife and I retired from our 9-to-5 job by investing into real estate and the stock market so that we could achieve financial independence. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. In week 6, we spent the first half of the week in Salzburg, Austria. While living in Germany years ago, I got to visit this beautiful city. This week, I got to take my wife and son to experience the beauty of one of Austria's most breathtaking cities. Here we got to visit the birthplace of Mozart and climb to the top of the Salzburg Castle, overlooking the entire city. Salzburg is a very walkable city, so if you want to see the city or the castle, you better be prepared to walk. There are no big parking lots like we have in the United States. After visiting Salzburg, we made our way into Austria and stayed in a very small town called Westendorf. Don't ask me why we stayed here. I wanted to stay somewhere in the area and found a cheap hotel. But because everything, in the area is very expensive, I kind of was just looking where can I find an affordable hotel. But after doing my research, something that really caught my attention was that they had a gondola in the area so we could ride to the top of the mountains there. While visiting Westendorf, we had the opportunity to get my favorite dessert, Kaiserschmarrn, along with, of course, an Austrian classic drink, Almdudler. While living in Germany, that was my favorite thing to do when visiting the Alps. You can't go on a mountain hike without having Kaiserschmarrn and Almdudler. This is a must. After a few nights in Westendorf, Austria, we made our way through the beautiful town of Innsbruck and ended the week by visiting the famous Neuschwanstein Castle in Germany. When tourists plan a trip to Germany, the Neuschwanstein Castle is one of the first things that go on the list to see. I've been to the Neuschwanstein Castle a few times before, but this was very exciting for my wife to see it for the very first time, even though she's from Germany, and she's never seen it before. And the castle name is quite the tongue twister, Neuschwanstein Castle. Yeah, say that 3 times in a row without, scrambling your words. Try it, I dare you. A fun fact about the Neuschwanstein Castle is that Walt Disney himself took inspiration from the Neuschwanstein Castle in creating many of the Disney castles and logos that we know and love today. I said in a previous video that this trip is filled with adventure and relaxing. This was a week of adventure. After a long week of sightseeing, we are excited to take it easy and slow things down a bit. But I'll talk more about that in next week's video. I'm excited to share that this video is presented by Snowball Analytics. Snowball Analytics is a tool that I use to analyze my dividend portfolio. You can check them out with the link in the description below and use promo code DGI to get the very best pricing. Someone asked the question, how should I diversify my portfolio across sectors? This is a really good question and one that can cause a lot of confusion and, quite frankly, anxiety. I remember when I first was building my dividend portfolio, I would spend so much time trying to get the perfect allocation to each sector based on my goals. I remember making a spreadsheet with columns of all sectors and placing dozens of individual stocks in each sector. It got to the point where I would obsess over it. I started to question myself if there could be maybe a better way. It wasn't until later when I embraced index investing that the uncertainty and frustration around balancing sector allocation would go away. If you only invest in individual stocks and no ETFs, then yes, getting your sector allocation correct becomes a very important thing. But if you invest using the core and satellite approach, sector allocation becomes less important. The reason for this is because your core portfolio is in index funds that already cover all sectors with maybe the exception of real estate. Now, if you wanted exposure to real estate, you could add a satellite position in real estate. That could be in the form of a real estate ETF or an individual REIT. So after you understand that piece, it's important to understand how each sector is expected to perform over time. You have more growth-oriented sectors and more value-oriented sectors. Think about consumer staples versus consumer discretionary. Staples are less cyclical and have less of the boom or bust. Now, discretionary, on the other hand, can go up a lot more, but they can also go down a lot more. So having this understanding will help you to allocate your dividend portfolio based on your goals and investment time horizon. But yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you haven't already, go check out Snowball Analytics, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see everybody in next week's video.